everyone. Welcome back to And Moving Forward vlog. I'm Chynel with Chapter 28 Beauty.
I am Ronai with Anomaly the Agency.
And
And
we're
today
here.
we about launching. Oh, my bad. Launching. We're
Okay, say
launching
less.
today. Launching our business. For anybody who is about to launch their small business or big business, whatever. And for anybody that's relaunching as well, we're just kind of going to get into a couple of things that are important. Making sure you're checking your emotions and just kind of, your thoughts and your mind is together. It's pretty much a hectic time all throughout until the day of the grand opening, the grand reopening, and just a couple other things as well. So I figured, Chynel, you start. I think you have great experience in this area.
Yes. So I will say I've been a part of maybe 2 or 3 launches in my professional career as a stylist. And what I will say is launch time, the time frame from like the counting down month or a couple months that you have where you're just preparing for that launch date is very stressful. And I myself am in that relaunch field right now because August 22nd is going to be a relaunch for the brand and all the new things that are coming to the brand. So I feel it, and not by myself, but all of the people that are helping with my launch are now virtual. We are not in the same place at one time like you usually are when you have that type of help. So I know that other people who don't have all their ducks in a row are probably losing their minds right now on trying to figure out how to launch. Luckily for me, I have some of my ducks in a row, and then I have the people who can help me follow up with the rest of them. So I will say, just know that your launch is going to be stressful, and that's just something that comes along with a launch. That's it. Be prepared to be stressed, and throughout the stress, you just have to grow through it, and you have to get things done. So yeah, I mean, launching is definitely exciting, but it's also a headache.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I've been having conversations with a few people that have kind of taken that major leap and are just in the beginning stages of launching their, projects, these businesses and applications and whatever. And it's stressful. I mean, period. I mean, even just taking that step already is stressful, especially when you're investing a lot of money into it. Because, or even if when you're not, because you have these like constant questions like, should I be doing this right now? Like, how is this going to affect me on a day-to-day basis? Like, and then even the things you're not even prepared to ask about, like the things that you don't even, think about, you know what I mean? Filing for the LLC and doing other things, doing so many of these different things. And it all just adds up. The honest answer is it all adds up. It really all adds up. I think anything that you can do is create a list from start and from the very beginning and moving forward, even after the launch, just about, the different things that you need to acquire, the different things that need to be done, even the small details, like for your actual grand opening, if you're going to have snacks or not, you know what I mean? Like what your place is going to look like, so many different things, where you're going to launch, who's going to be there, you know what I mean? What prizes, what giveaways, whatever. There's so many little bits and pieces that go into it. And if you're not careful, you will literally lose yourself in the entire process, trying to figure it all out. I think, while for me, because I don't have a brick and mortar and mine is really online, I feel like it's less stressful for me in that sense because I don't have to go somewhere physically, put anything together physically, and there's just that's a lot of extra time and money that goes into that. Um, but even still, just launching your online, your e-commerce website in general, it still takes time in the sense of how are you launching it? You know what I mean? How are you marketing this? How are you going to get the word out? And then not only that, but when the word does get out, can you handle the potential feedback? You handle, let's say you launch your online website, you have some sort of agency, some sort of whatever, and it comes back and it actually ends up being more successful than you were even prepared for. And you have now 10, 20 people at one time reaching out to try to get your services, and it's just you. Again, it's equally as stressful. So I think for me, the main thing wherever you're at in this launch or your relaunch, make sure you just have a solid support system. Like you have, people, not just employees that you might have, which is great if you do have one or two employees, but even just, family and friends and people that actually want to be there and help you and just make sure that you have everything you need. Let them hold you accountable. You really do need that. Like, as much as you want to believe you can do everything by yourself and, you want to be low key, because we are low key people. So there's a lot of things we try to do on the
Yes.
low and without telling people. And so that way, when they see it, it's just done. But the downside of that is that it might not be done correctly. You know what I mean?
Right.
It might not be done 100% because you are just so clouded with all this other extra work that you have to do that you don't have time to actually make things look official. I see that a lot with grand openings. I see that a lot with events. People have these grand ideas, which is beautiful. You should always think big, but they don't have the time to execute. And so at the last minute, they're putting things together and then they're settling when things don't come out exactly how they want. And that's an issue. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're like, okay, no, this is what I want. I'm going to see it through, even if it takes a little bit extra time before I get to sleep or whatever the case may be. These are sacrificial times. Like, you are going to sacrifice a lot of time. So that's probably, first and foremost, you know what I mean? Just make sure your mentality is there and you just have that support system for sure.
Yes. I mean, you hit it right on the money for sure, with especially like time. Time is everything, and something that we don't have a lot of, apparently, especially when you're working like a slave, like I've been doing my whole life. But one of the things that you mentioned was, letting your family and your friends and the people closest to you hold you accountable. That is a big thing. For me, it's hard for me to let people in and explain, these are the things that I need, and then what can you help me with? Because it's like, I just need it right. I just need it done right the first time, especially when so much money is involved. And not to say that that person is going to do it wrong, but if it's not what you want, and if it's not what I want, then I'm just like, oh, now I got to turn around and do that. It's just, I've had to do that so much in the past. What'd you say?
No, I was saying, that saying, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. That's oftentimes I feel like what you fall into.
That's the only thing, literally, my mom would say all the time. If you want something right, you do it yourself. But at these times, like I will say, yesterday was, first off, I went out of town last week, was fully booked when I went out of town. Amazing trip. Come home, I'm fully booked at home because I took a week off from home appointments. So all those people who were trying to get in that week and prior who couldn't, they hit me to get service when I got back. So literally today is my first free day and it's not even free because I'm even working harder with my brain trying to get other things in place. But I could not sleep last night. I had the worst migraine. I took a bubble bath. I lit a candle. I had some sage spray. I had it all. Like, I did it all and nothing helped. I got in the bed and I just was thinking, and I'm still thinking, I still have this pound because it's just like, your job is never done. It doesn't matter what you do. It's just never done. So the goal for me in our relaunch, basically, but the goal for me here right now is to figure out what I can delegate to certain people who are going to be there the day of the launch, so that I'm not stressing over getting these certain things done. I have lined up myself in the launch to have free time to work on the launch. So for me, I'm not going to be taking appointments for 2 weeks. That's because I have a launch in 2 weeks, so I don't really have time to take appointments. Hopefully that works in my favor. And I lined that up perfectly, perfect for the event that's about to take place, because I need this to be as amazing as it should be for everybody involved and for the clients that support it and the new clients and customers that come on. So big thing, time management, and definitely delegating. That you have to do. You cannot do it all on your own. I've said this plenty of times. When you're working as a small business owner, or even when you're in a bigger business, some people still try to do it on their own. You have to have a team, and it's hard to delegate things. I'll be the first one to tell you, it is very hard for me to even think, well, maybe that person can do it, or but you have to do it, and whatever happens, happens. If you have to go back and fix it, then you have to go back and fix it. But it gives you time to do other things, at least, get other things done while you're, delegating other things out to other people. So you hit that right on the money. And that's something that I need to actively work on in the next day.
I've been having this conversation with a lot of people that, have been starting businesses as of lately. And we're all just kind of like bouncing ideas off of each other and just like, what do you do when you get you hit a slump. You know what I mean? Like you're working on building this, you know, you're about to launch, or you're already in the midst of your launch, or, you know, your business is just at its flow,
Right.
and you're just in that slump, and you're just like, you feel like you're spread thin. I mean, what it comes down to is like you're
Right.
literally spreading yourself so thin that you have no time to think and just focus on one thing at one time.
Right.
And I think that is a trick for a lot of entrepreneurs, because you're dabbling in so many different things. You know what I mean? Like, you literally just need a note taker at this point, just somebody to write down, okay, this is for
Right.
this, this is for this. And that was like similar to what we were talking to about a part of, you know, the relaunch, and just like, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Write it down just so you can see it, and you can take that from your mind. Because I think where we struggle too is we try to keep everything in our brain. I'm a big person on writing or typing it down, whatever, you know, texting it to yourself, whatever you need to do, just so it's somewhere else outside of your brain, and you don't have to hold on to all of that one,
A
you know,
lot.
all of these different things in place. It's a
You can
lot.
change.
It's a lot. I mean, and then on top of your daily life, you know what I mean? If you have children, you know what I mean? You're thinking about what you got to do with them, and then, you know, cooking and cleaning and just
Right.
maintaining a social life. It's too much. Let's be clear. You can be a superhero and it's still just going to be a little overwhelming. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, you're just going to be overwhelmed, period. We've seen the movies. At some point or another, they can't handle something. So, so let's be clear. There's always going to be some
Right.
sort of pressure, no matter what level of life you're at. But
Right.
no, for sure. I think like that accountability is lethal. It's important, because without that, it's like anything can slip through the cracks.
Right.
Anything. And you're not. My thing is, it's not a weakness. You're not weak. You know, as long as you're surrounding yourself with people that are genuine, and you know they have your best favor and interest, you know, at heart. I mean, you're good. You know, and you don't have to. You could say something like, "Hey, make sure I do this," and they don't have to necessarily know the details of why, you know, you need to do it. You know what I mean? It's just a
Right.
matter of having standing that trust with the person, and that, you know, limit those limitations, but still accountability. And just like your, like I said, your feelings and your mentality in general, you know, if you are so drained to the point that the day comes and you are over it, number one, you're not going to have a good time at the launch, which
Right.
that's not the point of this thing. You're supposed to feel good, look good, be happy, because
And
people are feeling off that.
that's important that you said that, because there was a launch that I was a part of, and I was, the day of, I was like, I don't even want to be a part of this right now. Like, I literally just wanted to go
Yes.
into a black hole and not even cry, not even scream, but just go to sleep. Like, I'm tired, because you do so much to get to that point, and then it's almost like an adrenaline rush the whole time. So it's adrenaline rush carried out for weeks, and then you hit that top, you hit your peak, and then you crash, you come down, because,
Right.
and you don't want it to be that way, because then you won't be able to enjoy your launch, which is why it's so important that you delegate and you have people around you who love you and who can help you to bring your vision
Right.
to life. It's important that you outsource some of the things that you have to do to get done, really. For instance, for example, like Ronai said, just being able to tell her things, and her to be my note taker, just kind of through my thoughts and stuff like that, because I'm just running things. There's so many things that I'm running off to her. She has to make sure she's, and find a good note taker, because if you don't have a good note taker, and I'm a good note taker, I'm a decent, but there's better note takers than me. If you
Right.
have a good note taker, somebody you can speak to, and they can be organized, that's the person you need to be running down your thoughts to, so that they can give them back to you in order, and to like, okay, so get this done first and then do this next. But like I was saying, for example, Ronai, we have a subscription box coming, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
having boxes ready, and that in itself has to be designed. It's not something that you just buy a box and you throw it together.
Right.
So somebody who may be tech savvy, may know how to get on the internet and kind of upload designs and stuff like that, you want to have them maybe feed that through, and then give you a prototype or a sample and say, hey, is this what you're looking at? Or maybe this is the base, here's the website, you take it from here, make it your own, whatever you want to do. But like, things like that, you want to, that's how people can help you. At least maybe start
Right.
the process and you finish it, or whatever, to go all the way through. But again, it's important to delegate. It's important to be held accountable in order for your day to be as best as it can be, as the person hosting launch. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, one of the launches that I was a part of, I just seen how much more better it could have been had we not all, and mind you, this is a small business still, but it was a team of 0 to 50. So we had the hands, we had the minds to do the work. But when you're a growing company and it's ever changing, and the person at the top is making changes very spontaneously, that it's the same as just spreading yourself too thin. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can't wrap your mind about one thing, and by the time you do, it's changing immediately.
Right.
It's and so we literally had a week to put this launch together, and it was for the entire building to come and be a part of. We had to put marketing, we had to order the actual physical stuff to put in. We remodeled the whole portion of the office. Like, there were just so many things going on in a week's time. By the time everybody, the day came, I mean, most of us were burnt out. You know what I mean? Most of them were burnt out. A lot of people didn't even want to stay for the launch. They were just like, boom, let's get a picture, let's go. Luckily they had, some drinks. So we were like, all right, cool, celebration, let's have a drink and, whatever. But
Right.
it's too much. So you can imagine if 0 to 50, it was too much. You can imagine how stressful it is for one person, two people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, and you have to account for that. I think people get so excited, as you should. You're launching your business, you're starting something new that nobody can take from you, and this is your baby, but we oftentimes overlook like the small details that are going to affect us the most. And that is one of these things. I mean, time management is everything. We've known that our whole lives, more or less. That's something that you just learn with time. But when it comes to these like launches and these relaunches, I mean, that's literally it. And like you said, like even with the sub boxes, those little details. Yeah, you could go into your local store, Walmart, whatever, buy a little basic box, a packing box or something. That's not what you want. That's not, what a subscription box looks like. You want it to look the part, you want it to meet your brand standards. That's all important. And if you're really going to do this right, again, you have to account for those little details. You cannot overlook those little details. That's why detail-oriented people are so important. That's why that's something that a lot of jobs look for, because it literally is, sometimes it is those little details that can make or break something very important within the company, within the the person's business, whatever. It just, you have to pay attention to that. And then, I do want to touch base on marketing as well. I mean, plainly put, you're posting about what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're putting it out there. You have a launch, you have a relaunch. You're trying to get people excited. Never underestimate the value of a paid ad, even if you don't have the funds. Let's say you put $20 in for a week, 2 weeks straight. It's going to tell you how many people it's going to hit, even if it's just 40, 50 people. That's still a good amount of people, especially if you're a small business, you're a small boutique brick and mortar. Yeah, that's pretty good. You probably don't want any more or less than that, honestly. And then you figure foot traffic, people are coming in and out. Most times people are not staying there the whole day. They're coming in, looking around, being nosy, doing whatever they got to do, and then they're leaving. So you got to account for those things. And when it comes to marketing, again, don't underestimate the value of those paid ads, because when it's all said and done, even if not everybody shows up, even if you don't get a lot of signups, whatever the case may be, your business is being put out there. So now the thing that you're working on, you're breaking your back for, people are starting to notice, and they're seeing it because it's popping up on their Instagram feed. It's popping up on it's popping up. You know what I mean? Those things are happening without you have to worry about, oh, can you share this? Can you share this? I mean, naturally, yeah, you want natural shares, you want word of mouth, you want people to, repost, whatever. But aside from that, you have this paid ad doing that job for you. And it just helps you a little bit more. And then just posting different parts of the business, not just the product or the service, but you. People love to see you. People love to see the behind the scenes. You're posting pictures of setting up for the grand opening. You're posting countdowns of, the launch and, what to look forward to, and, little minor details. I mean, these are all great, marketing opportunities, because people want to be a part of something. I think that's what you have to understand. Instagram and Facebook are community made platforms. They're literally based off of community. Now, you don't think that, because community in your eyes, especially for like old schoolers, is literally in the community, physically seeing each other. But we have we've changed the game in that regard. These Gen Zers, and we created this huge digital footprint, and our community is now online. You know what I mean? Which is, if you think about it, is kind of amazing, because it expands entirely. I mean, you can have a community with people all across the country. You know what I mean? Like it's the game has really changed, and you know that. You probably don't need me to tell you that, but I think sometimes we need that reminder as just to how powerful it can be. We oftentimes talk about how negative social media can be, and media in general, which that is very true. I mean, that's true with real life too, but we do have to, especially when it comes to your business. I mean, these are key elements here: digital media, using these social media platforms, figuring out your demographic, figuring out where they're on. A lot of the time, are they on Instagram, are they on Twitter, are they on Facebook? All of those things matter, you know what I mean? Because again, it's a pivotal part of this movement, this journey that you're on. And people want to communicate. They want to feel like they're a part of something. A lot of times people are at their best when they are online, when they really thrive and they communicate and they make friends online. And in real life, they can't have a single conversation because they're nervous. You don't really know. You don't think of those little details. And like for you in particular, your business, I feel like is so great for that because, I mean, hair salons in general, anybody who walks in the hair salon, we're talking. You know what I mean? That's literally the pace you present. You change your hair based on your mood. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things the hair salon does for people, and we can all relate to that, male or female, whatever. And that's an extension of the community. You know what I mean? So not only are they coming in, they're speaking to you, you're having conversations about life, but then when you go online, they're also seeing that being represented online. Your digital footprint, it's true to who you are, it's true to your business. And that just goes a long way. You know what I mean? So be mindful of that, and be mindful of the things you're posting in general. I know, it's your social media. You can post whatever you want, but try to be mindful as you're building a business, because the wrong message is the wrong message. You know what I mean? And, depending on, you might have somebody, the perfect client, they go online, they see something and they're like, no. And that's where it really gets tough, especially during this time, because we're living in such a sensitive time with the Black Lives Matter movement, this sex trafficking issues, like everything that's just coming to light like crazy right now.
Well, I wanted to add on to that though, before I lose my train of thought.
Yeah.
If you just stick to no politics, nothing religious, and stick to your brand and what you're trying to portray, you'll never mess up. It's when you start to do things like I said, post about religion or post about the Trump or post about whatever's going on. And that's for your marketing page. You know what I mean? Like the page that's for your business. Now, what you do on your other page is none of anybody's concern. I have a personal page. I have where all my family and friends follow. And then I have a business page where all my clients and stuff like that follow. On my personal page, I can say whatever I want, but still be mindful of that because it's all public. Everybody can see, regardless. They can go to your professional page and somehow they see your personal page come up or something like that, and people they may know, and next you know you're hit because now you're talking about X, Y, and Z, and none of that should be. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe. So be mindful of that.
And it's tough, I will say, because even working, I ran into that experience recently, especially with like the Black Lives Matter movement and everything going on, and it being such a sensitive topic. And I actually was upset with a lot of these small businesses that didn't say anything, because the power of influence is extremely real. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that there's that hard balance there, because again, once you shed light, you're hitting some sort of bias, and that is going to affect your clientele. But I think for certain issues, it's necessary, because anybody who is mad about that ultimately lets you know what I mean? For me personally, like that, okay, so that's just not somebody I want to work with at all, because with these types of issues that are taking place. And it's a conversation that I've had with clients and things. It's very tough to find that. But if you find yourself at a crossroads where you're like, I'm not sure if I should do this or not, and you're really nervous as the outcome of that, then don't do it. Let's be clear. Don't do it. You might get some backlash for not doing it, but maybe better to get the backlash for not doing it. As I don't know. I mean, that's completely your call. That's up to you and how you feel comfortable. And, and it does become really tough. And that's something I think you have to worry about as you grow. But again, don't underestimate the power of your small business's influence. It does go a long way, especially during this time, because small businesses they're getting the light and recognition they deserve as of right now. I feel like small businesses are being recognized on a whole other scale. I think that's another thing that COVID kind of brought out to us, because number one, small businesses are the ones that are being affected the most. If you don't have a certain amount of employees, if you're not able to uphold this momentum within your business during this time, you're screwed. You're done. You know what I mean? And so I think now people have really been pushing, like, support my small business, and people have been reciprocating that same energy because they realize the value of that. So I think now more than ever, we have an advantage in that area too. But that is tricky. That is super tricky. But I think just, paying attention to those, things, like having that conversation with yourself and and your employees or yourself or whatever, and just saying, this is how I feel. This is how I want to, come out to the public. I want to separate this, and I want to be mindful. And, you have to be mindful. I think people hate being mindful. People feel like they're giving up a part of themselves by being mindful and being considerate of other people's feelings. But I think, at least as a business owner, if not as an individual, as a business owner, like, you do have to do that. At the end of the day, the customer is always right. That's still a principle that a lot of people live by, if not everybody at this point. You still have to be mindful of those things. So, but I agree, in short, like I said, kind of that disappointment that came along with some of these small businesses that I know had a lot of influence. And I was kind of taken aback. I'm not gonna lie, it even left me at a crossroads. Like, do I even want to support this business anymore? But being that I'm in PR, obviously, like, I see it from the different perspective, where I was like, okay, well, from that standpoint, like, obviously they don't feel like they're in a place where they can afford to lose clients based on whatever, decision they decide or opinion that they share on their business pages. So, yeah, it becomes it can become very tricky. But I think, that's maybe past the launch. Obviously, but just something to keep in mind, because as you are going to relaunch, as you're continuing to build up to the launch, what you post, is important. It's imperative. It's a part of the marketing for the launch and just for your business in general. And again, even if you have that separate page, I mean, anything posted on the internet will be found. If you don't know that right now, please understand that and understand that it's going to reflect on your business at some point, whether you like it or not. It will. So,
I mean, you touched it. You said it. You meant it.
Yeah.
I 100%. I mean, that's where we're at. So if you're at a point where you're launching or you're relaunching, and of course maybe may have any questions, concerns, first start with your launch plan. Get that in order. I'll be the first to tell you, mine is all over the place, but I'm at a place where I can put it in order now. Like, I have everything I need to put it in order. So it's not just like, oh, I don't do too much wanting anymore. Like, I'm going to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going to do this now. Like, that's where we're at. We're in that phase. And even though time is always of the essence, you make time for what you want to make time for. So if it don't get done, that solely falls back on you and how you manage your time. Because if it costs you to lose some sleep, you got to lose some sleep. The only way I'm going to sleep is if my head is rocking. I mean, rocking to the point where I can't open my eyes. There's times I'm sitting up in my bed and I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm writing. Or I'll get out of bed and I'll go downstairs and I'll be writing and writing, because you have to get these things off your mind in order for them to really come to fruition. You have to write them down. Your mind, my mind is just so packed. I can feel it. I can feel pressure. So I know I have too much in my brain right now. Like, I know that I have to unleash and get it off. So be aware of what's going on in your body and what it's telling you. Mine is telling me, okay, girl, you need to let some of this out, because you need to relax. And then also, don't force anything. Let everything come natural. The people who you're dealing with, just let it should all feel very organic and natural in order for it to happen that way. For it to, like, it's like birthing a baby. Like, just do what you're supposed to do. That baby's gonna come out. If you do what you're supposed to do, everything is lined up correctly on launch day, you're good. It should just flow. Organization and timing and your support system is everything. So if you can manage to get that together, your launch will be perfectly fine. Start sooner than later. That's for sure. Start sooner than later. But nevertheless, people can have a wedding in a week. So you can launch in a week.
That is how and why, I don't know, but yes, that is a thing that people do. So that is true. Yeah, but I think, just be mindful, stop spreading yourself so thin. Don't be afraid to reach out to the right people for assistance or just accountability in general. Like, you literally got this. It's not going to take away anything from your business. You know what you can or cannot say to these people. But you also know the value that they bring to your life. And if you have somebody in your corner that is willing to make your life even a little bit easier, then why not?
Right.
Why not? This is still your business. You know what I mean? It's great. When you reach these levels of success, when you're doing these things, you want to have at least one person to share it with. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This is about your legacy. This is about your kids. This is about, your family, leaving something for them, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Um, let them
And
be
giving people a chance to be a part of something that maybe they never fathomed before. Like,
right.
being a part of a launch is a big deal, because first off, you start to see all these moving pieces come together and be one. If I say, hey, I need you to figure out this part of the launch, I need you to figure out this part of the launch. Once you do it, and then it comes and all the pieces are put together, you get to stand back and say, I did that. I'm
Right.
part of the reason why that flowed the way that it flowed and it looked the way that it looked. That's important. You want somebody to share your experience with. The more the better. But again, we know not everybody can be on this elevator going up. You know what I mean? Everybody can't be there. But that's a big deal. And that's something that I realized, like, because I always want to be a part of something, even if that just means, helping here, washing the baseboards or something. I always want to be a part of that because it's experience. And a lot of people nowadays are looking to open up their own businesses. So giving them that push and that motivation just to see how you're flourishing in your own situation is
Right.
important. It's because it's motivational. That's exactly what it is. It's motivational. So yeah, I mean, after this vlog, I'll be doing a whole lot of delegating and
Right.
getting things figured out. But it'll be exciting for us to talk after the launch so that you guys can see how it went, and then if there's any questions or concerns, we can definitely help you guys move forward with your launches or relaunches.
Absolutely. And yes, like she said, August 22nd, anybody watching, anybody that wants to be a part of this huge movement with Chapter 28 Beauty, super exciting. It's going to be a great day. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to just see you flourish, the business flourish. It's such a great chapter. New chapter. So definitely pay attention. There's an in-person launch, and then there will be, the official launch or relaunch of the website as well for you to go in, shop around, and just see what she has going on, period. So be on the lookout for that for sure.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, as we said in our last vlog, it'll be some time in between our recordings because we have so much going on, and we've added so much to both of our brands. So just look out for the next vlog number 24. I believe we'll have a special guest on that vlog. You won't want to miss it. And yeah, I mean, we look forward to speaking to you guys soon.
Yes. In the meantime.
All right. Thank you for being here with us. Vlog number 23, Locked and Loaded. I am Chynel with Chapter 28 Beauty.
And I am Ronai with Anomaly the Agency.
And we'll see you later. Bye, guys.